Welcome back to my channel. My name is Mirna Gabriel. I'm the fantasy author of The Two Lands and Horoscope, The Forces of Nature. English literature was my major at college, and it's something that I'm very passionate about. And so in this channel, I do literary analysis for famous classic novels, because I love classics, and perhaps some writing videos for beginning authors. This video is about the first book in the Chronicles of Narnia series by C.S. Lewis, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. This is the beginning of the story for the four Pevensey siblings, Peter, Susan, Edmund, and Lucy. It sets in 1940 during the German bombing of London. The four brothers and sisters are evacuated from London and they are sent to live with an old professor at a large house in the English countryside. The adventure soon starts as the four children are exploring the house. Lucy discovers a magical wardrobe that takes her to a snowy woodland with a lamppost. That world is called Narnia. Narnia is now ruled by a woman with magic powers known as the White Witch. On her first visit to Narnia, Lucy meets a friendly faun called Thomas. When she goes back to her world, Lucy tells her brothers and sister about Narnia. Edmund is the first one to follow Lucy into the wardrobe, but without her knowing. He is the first to encounter the White Witch, who introduces herself to him as the Queen of Narnia, and she's clearly very interested to know more about him. She gives him sweet treats, and he tells her everything about where he comes from and about his brother and sisters. The witch promises him more of those sweet treats and to make him a prince if he brings his brother and sisters to her house. Soon afterwards, the four children enter Narnia while they were hiding inside the wardrobe from the housekeeper. Of course, none of them are aware of Edmund's deal with the witch, and that's how the adventure starts.
How did you do that?
I can make anything you like.
Can you make me taller?
Anything you'd like to eat.
Turkish delight?
Edmund, I would very much like to meet the rest of your family.
It's very important to note that the entire Chronicles of Narnia series is like a retelling of biblical events through imaginary characters and imaginary settings. Now, I would like to say that to prepare for this video, I researched the topic over the internet, and one of the most amazing websites when it comes to literary analysis is a site called SparkNotes. It's my reference for this video. I left a link in the description if you would like to read more about this book and the author's background. And now let's talk about the theme. First of all, what is a theme? A theme is a central topic that the whole story revolves around. It is the message that the author wants us to take out of his book. Now, because this book is a Christian allegory, the story mainly revolves around Christian themes. For example, one of the themes here is the dangers of gluttony, the excessive love for eating, which is one of the 7 deadly sins. We see that happen when Edmund eagerly consumes the Turkish delight offered by the witch. Now, the food in itself is not sinful. There's nothing wrong with the food, even though the Turkish delights were made by the witch's magic. But Edmund's obsession with it is what creates the problem. Edmund's consumption of the Turkish delight can also be seen as a reference to Adam and Eve's sin when they ate from the tree of knowledge. Another theme here is mankind's redemption. This is a central theme in the story because, as we said, this is an allegory of Jesus Christ's act of redemption. Mankind is represented by Edmund and the enslaved Narnians, and Jesus is represented by Aslan the lion. And let me read this part to you from the notes because I like how it's written. Aslan sacrifices his life to save Edmund just as Christ gave his life to save mankind. Through Aslan's death, Edmund's sin is expunged and Edmund is permitted to live. Similarly, mankind is permitted to live in heaven now that Christ's death has expunged Adam's original sin when he disobeyed God in the Garden of Eden. Aslan is the king and the creator of Narnia. We don't see the creation of Narnia in The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. We see it in The Magician's Nephew, which is the next to last book in the series, and it's like a prequel to the events that happen here. Aslan is a noble lion and the true ruler of Narnia. He sacrifices himself for the good of Narnia, rises from the death, and defeats the White Witch once and for all. The White Witch represents Satan. She is an evil queen who puts a spell on the land so that it is always winter and never Christmas. She has a frozen heart, she is cruel and has no sympathy. She has a wand that can turn creatures and people into stone.
Perhaps you can help me now.
Forgive me, Your Majesty.
Oh, don't waste my time with flattery.
Not to seem rude, but I wasn't actually talking to you.
Where are the humans headed?
Wait! No! Don't! Viva said something about the stone table, and that Aslan had an army there.
An army? Thank you, Edmund. I'm glad this creature got to see some honesty. Before he dies.
No!
Father Christmas is also known as Santa Claus. He is the one who explains to the children that Christmas has arrived. And as a gift, he gives special tools to the children.
These are tools, not toys. Bear them well and wisely. Now, I must be off. Winter is almost over. Things do pile up when you've been gone 100 years.
Emperor over the Seas represents God, and so we don't see him in the story, but we know that he is the father of Aslan and the ultimate god of Narnia. Peter Pevensey is the oldest of the 4 siblings. He is noble and courageous, and he proves himself when he kills the wolf Morgrim, who is the chief of the witches' secret police. Aslan knights him, and eventually he crowns him as the High King of Narnia. During his reign, he is known as King Peter the Magnificent. Susan Pevensey is the second oldest of the Pevensey children. She is beautiful and kind, and Santa Claus gives her a horn to blow if she finds herself in a dangerous situation. When she becomes queen, she is known as Queen Susan the Gentle. Edmund Pevensey is the third oldest Pevensey child. Edmund is spiteful, mean, and likes to tease his sister Lucy. His greed for the Turkish delight leads him to betray his siblings. Edmund joined forces with the witch, but eventually sees the error of his ways when he realizes how bad she is, and regrets choosing her side. And last but not least, Lucy Pevensey. She is the youngest, she is cheerful, kind, and brave, and she is the first to venture into Narnia. Despite being the youngest, she is a magnificent leader. She urges her siblings to search for her friend Thomas when they see that the Fawn's house was ransacked. We see much of the action through her childish, cheerful optimism, which comes as a contrast to Edmund's skepticism. Santa Claus gives Lucy a cordial which she uses to heal the wounded after the battle against the witch. In the end, she comes to be known as Queen Susan the Valiant. The narrator's point of view is third-person omniscient. We don't know the narrator, but the story is revealed through the eyes of the Pevensies, particularly Lucy, Edmund, and through the thoughts of Aslan. The children enter Narnia and discover that the White Witch has taken Thomas. Aslan returns to Narnia and Christmas arrives. Edmund betrays his siblings and must forfeit his life to the White Witch. The White Witch murders Aslan, who sacrifices his life so that Edmund can live. This includes the resurrection of Aslan and the final battle between the witch's forces and Aslan's followers, which results in the witch's defeat and the reign of the Pevensey children of Narnia. I recently read an essay by C.S. Lewis called On 3 Ways of Writing for Children. I was very fascinated to read how C.S. Lewis defended the fantasy genre against the assumption that it is rather childish and beneath what adults should read. I left a link in the description. I encourage you all to check it out.
That's why we're here, sir. We need your help.
We had a little trouble along the way.
Our brother's been captured by the White Witch.
Captured? How could this happen?
He betrayed them, Your Majesty. Then he has betrayed us all.
Peace, Aureus. I'm sure there's an explanation.
It's my fault, really. I was too hard on him.
We all were.
Sir, he's our brother.
I know, dear one. But that only makes the betrayal all the worse. This may be harder than you think.
This is all for this video. Check out the main points I left in the description. If you like this video, like and subscribe to my channel to be notified when more videos are uploaded. Thank you so much for watching and see you in the next video.